You ever put your foot in your mouth real deep, where you're hanging out with a bunch of people, everybody's laughing, you're making fun of each other, you're making the kind of jokes that involve giant generalizations about traffic or politics or music, just how the world used to be better, but now it's stupid, or maybe you're making fun of each other's jobs or whatever it might be, and it's all going great. Everybody's giving and taking really well. You know the group really well. You're staying up late at a restaurant or sitting out on the deck listening to music, and it's like each person chimes in and tries to one-up the one before, and you're playing off the laughter of the last thing. It's just I love these kind of get-togethers. You feel so much trust and joy and joviality. They're just awesome. But then somebody tries a joke and they just didn't know that somebody in the room was going to have that joke hit a little too close to home. That generalization, that subject matter maybe touches on something that's a little sensitive for them or their family or their history. And maybe you just didn't know. Maybe you forgot. I did this the other day. Everybody's cracking jokes. I'm getting made fun of. I'm making fun of my friends back. And everybody's laughing, and I made a big sweeping generalization joke that has truth behind it, which is what makes jokes funny, about one particular lovely profession. It's not even it's not scandalous, it's not anything. It was just a joke, and everybody who didn't know that that was going to be sensitive for one individual got a real big laugh out of it. And everybody who did know was like, "Oh, Matt, if you knew, you probably wouldn't have done that one." And fortunately, we all trust each other and like each other, and it just kind of rolled over the waterfall, and we kept going. But you know what it's like when everybody's laughing, and then all the laughing kind of dries up real quick, and people go and refill their beverages. They're like, hang on, I got to return a quick call. I'll be right back. And it's all your fault. I did that. I ruined the party. You know who else ruined a party, but even worse? Haman. He ruined a party. This is a banquet where Queen Esther and he and Xerxes are all hanging out together. And he ruined the party by making a plan to kill all the Jews, but he didn't know that the host of his party was a Jew. Super awkward. And it's not hard for me to imagine Haman's face. Maybe he does a spit take. Maybe he makes horrified, deer in the headlights eye contact. But the moment where everybody's reclining on their little couches there in the fancy banquet loft overlooking the beautiful city of Susa with the evening breezes coming in and maybe the sun setting in the west, there's just a little bit of that kind of Miami Dolphins color to that sunset, the way the sun goes down over the desert. Maybe you get a little bit of that turquoise illumination from the Persian Gulf. All of that's happening out that window. Light breeze fluffing the curtains ever so slightly. The smell of delicious food and spices, incense, people hustling in and out, not making eye contact, serving the big three participants in this event. Everybody's having a great time, maybe even cracking some jokes. Haman maybe seems a little off over there, but the king's just tickled by all of this, and finally he comes back around. He's like, I can't wait any longer. And you got to tell me, what is it? What do you want? What is this all about? Up to half the kingdom. What do you want? And then Queen Esther gets a little more serious look on her face and goes right to it. And she says, if I've found favor with you, O King Xerxes, and if it pleases your majesty, grant me my life. And I imagine right at that moment, Haman does the, wait, what now? This is my petition, and spare my people. This is maybe where Haman coughs his beverage back out into his cup and hastily sets it aside and sits up real straight. Spare my people. This is my request. For I and my people have been sold for destruction and slaughter and annihilation. And somewhere in the midst of all of these words, that sunset stops looking so beautiful and enchanting. The food and the beverage quits tasting delicious and suddenly starts to taste like coals and ash. And that lightning fast adrenaline rush that goes right to the pit of your stomach as you run the calculation about what you've just done and what is about to happen. That all hits Haman in that moment. I picture Simba in the canyon with the whoo sound from the Hans Zimmer soundtrack as he looks back up from the little rocks and stuff that are rumbling as he curiously tries to figure out what's happening and realizes that that stampede is bearing down on him. This isn't just a little ribbing or a joke that went the wrong way and demonstrated insensitivity. It's not even just that he said something really ill-advised and a little bit racial and mean. Not a good idea. Not cool to do that. No. He straight up signed an edict. He straight up made a master plan to kill an entire race of people without knowing that Queen Esther was a member of that people group. And now he's finding out. Whoops. Now, if you're Haman, what do you say at this point? As we've discussed, the king stomps out and you just got a moment with Queen Esther to try to make it right. Do you go with, I'm so sorry, I never would have done that if I'd known you were Jewish? That rings hollow. Well, yes, you would have. You just would have had to have done it a different way because you weren't going to get away with going through the front door the way that you went about it. Do you go with some sort of, oops, I made a mistake. I was thinking of a different people group. Oh, just now it occurred to me, it wasn't the Jews I was meaning to kill. It was a different people group whose name just sounds like Jews. I cannot believe I made this mistake. Thank you for bringing it to our attention. Obviously, this is a clerical error that I will address first thing in the morning, and you can be assured that my office manager will be fired over this. It's ridiculous. I'm so mad. Gosh, seriously. Thank you for helping me. I don't think that's going to work very well. Do you go with, it wasn't me, it wasn't my idea, it was the king's idea. Look at whose signet ring is on it. It's his signet ring. It wasn't mine. I don't think you want to do that because the king's outside and he's real mad and he's right there. He's going to walk back in. And then what's Esther going to say? Hey, was this all your thing? Because Haman says it was all your thing. He said it was 100% your idea and your fault and that he was against it the whole time and tried to stop you, but that you did it. That doesn't sound like how you make decisions, oh great king. Is it possible that Haman is being dishonest with us? No, that isn't going to work. And I think Haman, to his credit, is able to run all of these calculations very quickly. So instead of making any kind of argument, he just hurls himself on the couch next to, or maybe uncomfortably close to being on top of, the queen and begs for mercy. Well, the king's not impressed when he walks back in and sees what's going on, and now, as we discussed yesterday, he's got his excuse. Just as the king returned from the palace garden to the banquet hall, Haman was falling on the couch where Esther was reclining. And these consequences that are coming next is where we go from foot in your mouth at a party all the way up to there's no coming back from this one. You can't talk yourself out of this gaffe. There's no solution to this. You're really, really going to pay for this mistake. The king exclaimed, "Will he even molest the queen while she is with me in the house?" As though to intone that it'd maybe be okay if he molested her when he isn't. I think the point here is that the king is like, you're so brazen that you would do this kind of thing to me in full view. This is somehow a metaphor for what you did with this edict. If you would do this thing with my queen when my back is turned for 1 second, even in the same room, how much more so in the court of decision-making would you weasel your way into doing this evil thing to have her and her people killed? That seems to me to be the intonation. Maybe I'm reading a bit too much into it. As soon as the word left the king's mouth, they covered Haman's face. Do you know what the point of a black op is? It's that it is black. And in black ops, you put dark sacks over people's heads who are probably not going to live much longer, and you take them away to other places where you are going to inflict whatever punishment or torture on them you intend to inflict. If you are at a party or a meeting and the person in charge who has total full control over all of the guards and the military is mad at you and they put a black bag over your face, you got a problem. And Haman, he got a problem. And I think it's just amazing that even at a party, they just have black bags. Like maybe there's a black bag guy. that is for whoever the king no longer wants to be looking at. I don't even want your face. The black bag guy just runs in. Is like, it seems like this has reached a high enough level if the king is mad about things. Let's bag him, boys. And they just put that right on there, and that's it. I kind of joke, but also it speaks to how obvious it was to everyone in the room, as it was to Zeresh, his wife, and his friends as well, just an hour or two earlier. You're done, man. This is more than foot in the mouth. This is more than botching something at a party. You are absolutely cooked. Nobody can help you. The gig is up. You said what you said. You did what you did. You played a dangerous game, and you lost. And we're not even to the worst of it for him yet. More on that tomorrow. I'm Matt. This is the 10-Minute Bible Hour podcast. Let's do this again soon.